extraordinary gesture. The Chief Justice of India offers to mediate in the vexed Ram Janmabhoomi dispute. The Babri Action Committee as well as the Hindu Mahasabha, both of whom are parties in the case, reject the offer, while the BJP, both of the centre and the state, welcome this offer. And we'll have a full panel on the House tonight, and I have no hesitation in saying this. The best and biggest names are joining us on the panel tonight. Subramaniam Swamy, Member of Parliament and senior leader and somebody who's party to this case. Rakesh Sinha, RSS thinker and author. Shahid Siddiqui, senior journalist. Shehzad Poonawala, lawyer. K.N. Bhatt, former additional solicitor general. He was the ASG at the time this case came to the national fore back in the early 90s. Dr. Sambit Patra of the BJP and Jaiveer Shergill of the Congress. Will also be joined by Asaduddin Owaisi of the AIMIM. Well, that's our big focus and our big debate coming up in just a few minutes. Here are the other headlines that we're tracking this Tuesday night on India at 9. It's the latest in the probe into the Narada scam. The West Bengal government has offered an unconditional apology for calling the Kolkata High Court biased after the Supreme Court rejected its plea to stop the CBI probe. Top leaders of the Trinamool have been caught on camera accepting cash for favours. After Amarinder Singh's jibe at Sidhu over his television career, Navjot Singh Sidhu now remains defiant. He snubs the Chief Minister, saying what he does after office hours is nobody's business. Tamil star Kamal Hassan incurs the wrath of the fringe once again. A PIL has been filed against him by a Hindu group which has accused him of derogatory comments for saying that women were used as pawns in gambling in the Mahabharata. And the Modi government moves a fresh proposal to cap cash transactions at 2 lakh rupees instead of 3 as provided in the union budget. In an unprecedented move, it's also introduced as many as 40 amendments to the finance bill. But up first, in an extraordinary development today in the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of India has given a fresh push for negotiations to end the Ayodhya dispute, calling for all parties to come to the dialogue table and talk it out. Even as the Babri Action Committee has rejected the offer of mediation, all eyes are now on both Prime Minister Modi and new UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on whether they can bring the warring parties to the negotiating table. But with a politically and communally charged dispute, which is perhaps as old as India itself, how much can dialogue resolve the scars of the past? Remember, there have been at least half a dozen attempts in the past to try and resolve this issue. Moreover, the land dispute, can there be justice in the case, as many involved in the demolition of the mosque are still out scot-free, and many of them top leaders of the BJP.
प्रमुख न्यायाधीश का इस प्रकार से बोलना वो एक इच्छा की अभिव्यक्ति है. अगर सब लोग सहमत हो जाए तो बहुत इससे श्रेष्ठ क्या बात हो सकती है.
The original mascot of Hindutva, the man who rode the Rath to catapult the BJP from the margins to the mainstream, L.K. Advani welcoming the Supreme Court's offer to play the mediator. Some of the co-travellers of Advani in the Ram Rath, like Uma Bharti and Vinay Katiyar, also see the court's observations as a positive development.
माननीय कोर्ट ने जो कहा है उसका अभिनंदन होना चाहिए. जहां रामलला बैठे हैं वो जगह रामलला की ही है.
The BJP formally brought the Ram Temple issue into its political agenda at the historic executive at Palampur in Himachal Pradesh more than 3 decades back. The party has ridden the issue to power both in Uttar Pradesh and at the centre. But this is the first time the party has an absolute majority in parliament, a massive mandate in Uttar Pradesh and another Hindu mascot leading the government in the state.
माननीय न्यायालय ने जो फैसला दिया है वह स्वागत योग्य है. मुझे लगता है दोनों पक्षों को बैठ करके विवाद के समाधान के लिए एक रास्ता निकालना चाहिए. सरकार से जो सहयोग लोग चाहेंगे हम लोग उसमें सहयोग करेंगे.
After a resounding defeat in Uttar Pradesh, which has seen massive polarization in the last 2 elections, opposition parties are either tight-lipped or cautious in their reaction.
मुझे इस बात का संशय और डर है, महंत आदित्यनाथ जो कि अब मुख्यमंत्री बन चुके हैं, वे किस रास्ते पर जाते हैं, ये हमारे सबके लिए चिंता का विषय है. इसलिए माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट को इसमें पहल करना चाहिए.
The main litigants in the title dispute, however, are not enthused by the offer.
We will inform the Honorable Chief Justice of India
that out-of-court settlement is not possible at all.
Okay.
We had made several efforts right from 1986 at the highest level.
So differences persist. So much water has flown down the Saryu all these years. Many governments have been formed and defeated. The temple remains as much a political issue today. That's the big debate tonight on India at 9. Is dialogue the only way to resolve the Ram Mandir dispute?
All right, so is dialogue the only way to resolve this vexed dispute, which is as old as this nation itself? Before I bring in our talking point panelists, I want to first go across to Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, because he, and based on a submission that he made today in court, this extraordinary offer was made by no less than the Chief Justice of India to mediate in this dispute between the warring parties. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, why should we believe that you will be successful where many in the past have failed? At least half a dozen attempts have been made in the past to try and bring the warring parties to the dialogue table. Why should we believe that you will be successful where others have failed?
Well, I know why we failed. I was part of the Chandrasekhar cabinet. I was law minister also. And I was fully involved in the negotiations with Saeed Shahabuddin. Then later on with Narasimha Rao. And Mr. Narasimha Rao, in fact, wrote me a letter of appreciation after my help to him. But the main problem was that it was politicians sort of mediating, and the rival parties not coming to an agreement. What happened today actually is extraordinary, because the matter is before the Supreme Court. Both parties accept the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court says, well, we can help you mediate, and you try and find something outside the court so that there are no winners and losers.
There's a problem there, and the problem is both the Babri Action Committee as well as the Hindu Mahasabha, both of whom are parties to this case, have both outright rejected this.
That's okay. Then I will be ready to argue this in the court on a day-to-day basis.
Okay,
either way we are ready.
Okay, let me also play out before I get a reaction from you. I also spoke to Asaduddin Owaisi, who's from the MIM and also a member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, which also, by the way, is party to this case. And this is what he had to say, and I'll get Dr. Swamy to react to it, because he says the only difference now is that the political situation has changed with the BJP in power both in Delhi as well as in Lucknow, and this is being used for political reasons. Let's listen in to what Owaisi said, and then I will get Dr. Swamy to respond to that.
No, let me reply to you not as a lawyer or not as a politician, but as a member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. And the principal stand of All India Muslim Personal Law Board has been that in the past 6 such attempts were made, which were unsuccessful. And I can say with all the responsibility that it was not the Personal Law Board which did not want a decision to come out. But a decision has been taken by Personal Law Board that no more talks, we will abide by the Supreme Court judgment, and we want the Supreme Court to hear this matter on a daily basis. And please understand that the Supreme Court has only observed. The Chief, it was duty on the part of Mr. Swamy to have informed the court that 6 such attempts had been made in the past, and neither Mr. Swamy informed the other parties. Mr. Swamy is not a party in this case. So I would go ahead and say that let the Supreme Court hear this matter on a daily basis. The Honorable Supreme Court is going to hear the triple talaq issue in holidays. Let this appeal be heard in holidays, along with that contempt petition which is yet to be heard from 93 onwards, so that a daily hearing would give a judgment. And why is this Modi government shying away? I have seen the ministers welcoming this observation of Supreme Court. Why can't these ministers, why can't Mr. Swamy, who is the member of the apex body of his party, influence the Prime Minister and say, let him go and inform Supreme Court that the government of India wants this matter to be heard on daily basis. Let this be heard in summer holidays. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy is not a party to the dispute. The party to the dispute are different parties. And secondly, I do not need any lessons about my religion from Mr. Subramaniam Swamy. I know for a fact Mr. Subramanian Swamy in 1993, when he was supporting the then Prime Minister, had condemned the RSS. He had condemned the demolition of Babri Masjid. Now, because it is politically convenient to him, he has changed his colors because of the political compulsions. But I don't need any lessons about my religion, about how to pray and about my masjid. As I am stating the stand taken by the Muslim Personal Law Board, that is, no more talks. We want the Supreme Court to hear on day-to-day basis.
You want to respond to that series of, that litany of allegations that have been made, Dr. Swamy, against you?
Well, first of all, for the first time I'm seeing Owaisi speaking out of ignorance. I had filed a writ petition saying that while the Muslim parties are only concerned about the property dispute, they are saying that they are adverse possession and they have a title, etc. Mine is a case of a fundamental rights question. I have a fundamental right to worship in the Ram temple, and I'm not getting free access to that temple. How long do I have to wait? Let this matter be settled quickly. That's how it started. And I asked for day-to-day hearing. And then the court today, when they took up my matter, and I don't have to serve anybody except the Union of India, because my grievance is against the Union of India, which had filed an affidavit in 1994 saying that if it is shown that there was a pre-existing temple, they will hand over the land to the Ram Janmabhoomi Ram temple construction. So I wanted the government of India to now hand over the land in view of the fact that the Archaeological Survey of India has proved that there was a pre-existing temple.
Okay.
Now that's how it started. Then the court said, why not you take some steps to find a compromise? I said they will not accept bilateral. There has to be a Supreme Court judge who should mediate. Then it is possible. But otherwise it is not possible, and that's how the whole thing came.
The other big worry, and I want you to respond to this, I will play out what Asad Owaisi said about this issue as well. The other big concern is now you have Mr. Modi in Delhi and Yogi Adityanath in Lucknow, and this sudden attempt by the BJP to try and, push both parties to find some kind of a out-of-court settlement or a resolution to this issue. The worry is that will then have a bearing on the criminal conspiracy cases that are pending against senior BJP leaders like L.K. Advani, Uma Bharti and Murli Manohar Joshi.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that they will have no bearing. That's an event which has happened, and it's in criminal law very clear that once an event has happened, a criminal action has taken place, there is no time bar for it, and it will continue till the end. Now, if they have committed a crime, they will be punished. If they have not, they will be set free.
Okay.
That's a separate, independent issue. It's got nothing to do with this.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I appreciate you joining us at the top of the show, Dr. Subramanian Swamy. We'll see how far this goes and whether or not there can be an out-of-court settlement, as has been suggested by the Chief Justice of India, as has been offered by the Chief Justice of India to mediate between the disputing parties. Let's bring into focus now our talking point panelists here in our studios. Professor Rakesh Sinha, RSS ideologue, Shehzad Poonawala, lawyer. We're also joined by Shahid Siddiqui, senior journalist of Nai Duniya magazine. We're also joined by K.N. Bhatt, former Additional Solicitor General. He was at that time ASG when this whole matter flared up onto the national headlines. And from our political guests tonight, Dr. Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, and Jaiveer Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress party. So, Dr. Sambit Patra, I'll start with you. The same question that I asked Dr. Swamy. Why should we believe that this attempt will be successful when half a dozen attempts in the past have failed? And more importantly, is the BJP now using its political heft, both in Delhi as well as in Lucknow, to push through a solution and perhaps an out-of-court settlement?
Just because the last 9 attempts have been unsuccessful does not mean that the 10th attempt would be unsuccessful as well. And we should be optimistic always in life, and definitely when you are on the floor of Supreme Court, that is the abode of optimism. Supreme Court of this country can never in fact be pessimistic, and I believe you would all agree to that fact. Secondly, I would say in this case, the Supreme Court's observations are extremely welcome because of the fact that, as rightly pointed out by Mr. Subramanian Swamy, though one section feels that this is just a title suit, this is just a land dispute, there's the other section which feels, and the Supreme Court has resonated that this is a very sensitive and a sentimental issue, what we call in Hindi, quote unquote, astha. This is an article of faith. This is not just a title suit. And that is the reason as to why the words chosen by the observation in Supreme Court are extremely precious. Sentimental, sensitive, and the third word is amicable. That is why the Supreme Court feels that since this is an article of faith, rather than being solved within the precincts of court, it should go first to the court of the people, where if millions of minds come together and they solve this, then nothing like it. It will have a larger shelf life.
One second, there are a couple of issues there. One second, there are a couple of issues there. First of all, the court has to go by the law of the land, not by faith. And however sentimental this issue might be, and I agree, it is extremely, even to the point of being explosively sentimental to wide sections and to both disputing parties. The court cannot go as per faith, it has to go by law. Let me bring in Mr. Bhatt, and specifically so because you were Additional Solicitor General at the time when this flared up. Is the court, sir, going beyond its remit by trying to adjudicate or trying to play mediator in a legal dispute where, I mean, the court's job is to interpret the law, not to play panchayat?
A small correction. I was not the Additional Solicitor General during that time, but I was the lawyer for Ramlalla. Hello?
Yeah, go on, sir. I can hear you. I stand corrected. But go on. The answer to my question.
Yeah, I was the lawyer for Ramlalla in the suit.
Okay.
Lord Rama himself was a party to the litigation, and I represented him.
Yes.
So that is a small correction. A number about your observation that court has to decide the question of law and not to mediate. I agree with you. Court can always try to settle the matter by persuading the parties to come to an agreement together. And this was particularly an issue like that, because anybody winning or losing will be leaving a lot of bad blood, and there will be a feeling of hurt. But whereas they compromise, and so it was very kind of the Honorable Chief Justice of India to go out of his way and offer that the whole matter, out of which, you know, the main matter is the appeal from the Allahabad High Court judgment. Without deciding them, Dr. Subramanian Swamy's petition cannot be decided, because basically all the questions involved regarding this Rama Janmabhoomi, whether this was the birthplace of Lord Rama, the High Court has held so. But there is a small historical aspect to which Dr. Swamy also referred, which if you don't mind, I will tell you. In 1994, when this matter came up before the Supreme Court, while answering a reference by the President of India, the Government of India was asked, what is the purpose of your asking us to find out whether there was a Hindu structure beneath the demolished mosque? And the Government of India gave it in writing that a large number of Muslim leaders had come and offered that if in fact there was a Hindu structure, they themselves will hand over the whole land to the Hindus.
That is correct.
And if there was not a structure, then the mosque must be built in the place. The Government of India said that we will abide by that.
My point is this. This is the dispute that has been mired in politics, and I want to ask both Rakesh Sinha as well as Shehzad Poonawala this. My point is simply this. It's been mired in politics. It came to the national fore on the 6th of December 1992. An entire generation of Indians has been born after that. Why are we still stuck on to this age-old issue? I mean, I agree it's an article of faith. I even said perhaps even explosively sentimental to large sections of our country. Yet, is that what the new India is about? Is that what aspirational India is about? Is that what the mandate in the Uttar Pradesh election was about?
That's why every citizen of India wants that the issue should be amicably solved. Look, there are two ways of resolving the issue. One is either you give respect to the faith or facts. Faith or facts. As far as faith is concerned, I don't consider that Lord Rama is concerned to a particular religion. He represents civilization and cultural ethos of the country.
Okay.
And you know, the entire documents, revenue documents and surveyor reports mention Janmabhoomi, Janmasthan. And if you allow me, should I quote from the white paper issued on the Ram Janmabhoomi? I'm quoting 3 and 4 lines. There was a dialogue between 3 people, Sharad Pawar, Bhairav Singh Shekhawat, late Bhairav Singh Shekhawat, and Jilani Sahab, who is representing the Babri Masjid Action Committee. At this stage, Sharad Pawar asked whether there was any mention in the official gazette or not about the demolition of the temple and the building of the mosque. Mr. Jilani admitted that in British official gazette it has been mentioned that it was demolished, temple demolished.
No, where is this? Where are you
this is the white paper issued. There are 2 white papers, one by the government, other by BJP. This is the official record. This is the minutes of the.
You are reading from the BJP one.
This is white paper. Don't believe. No, don't be kiddish. This is BJP's white paper. This is the government's.
But you are
white
reading
paper.
from the BJP.
But if BJP is issuing the white paper, and this is the minutes of the white paper. Let me complete it.
That Mr. Jilani agreed that there was.
Yeah. He said that temple. He accepted that
there was a temple.
In all the records, it has been mentioned that the temple was demolished, then mosque was constructed.
So, but that was something that the Archaeological Survey of India also said.
Let me 2 lines more. Sri Shekhawat suggested that official gazettes were based on facts, but Sri Ajam then Sri Shekhawat asked when it was mentioned in the official gazette that the mosque was constructed after demolishing a temple at the very site where Lord Rama was born, did anyone dispute the assertion of the British record? It was replied in the negative.
Okay.
So, the facts and faith both goes in favor of that. Look, it is not a question of Hindu and Muslim. There are certain people who are communalizing the issue because certain political party encourage such elements. It should have been resolved.
No, but who? Why don't you make? I mean,
last
point from the other side would be you are saying that some parties made this communal, some parties made this political, and they've driven political mileage out of it.
I agree.
The accusation against the BJP would be the same, that they also benefited from it politically.
I agree. You have right to accuse anyone, and you can accuse BJP, you can accuse me, but...
No, you made the charge that some people made it political.
I'm just giving other...
Okay, let me get...
But just one.
Okay.
This is not the first time Supreme Court suggested. On 9th November 1989, 3 honorable judges of Allahabad High Court said same thing, that there are certain matters which cannot be resolved in the domain of the court.
So that's what I asked Dr. Swami. Why should we believe... why should we believe it will be successful this time?
Unfortunately. Sambit Patra right.
No,
9th time we failed that.
Really, again, I keep going back to this because I think it's very important to point out that, should people like you be fighting for an issue that really doesn't concern at least young Muslims? I'm sure a large majority under 25 don't even know about this issue. Should you be fighting for their jobs and their education opportunities, or should you be fighting for this?
So let me just put out a few facts. I think today what Justice Keher has done, he's probably been guided by a legal maxim which basically says that a bad compromise is better than a good lawsuit.
Okay.
But the counter to this is that a compromise can often end up as a deal where 2 parties get what neither wanted. And I think what's happened today with both parties rejecting that we don't want to go for a compromise is somewhere closer to that last maxim that I just stated.
Fair enough. The larger question that I asked.
Now the larger question that you asked. Majority of my community, actually Muslims, are below the age of 30. They're not represented by Mr. Owaisi or other names quoted by Mr. Swami, Syed Shahabuddin and others. They're actually represented by people like me. And what I want to say is that yes, there have been 9 attempts, like Sambit rightly said, to solve this matter right from 1859 to the last one in Allahabad before the verdict was pronounced. They asked that whether you want to settle it, it wasn't done. Maybe the 10th time it could be successful, but what are the counters for that? And here are the 3 constructive counters I want to put out.
Does it even really
matter?
Yes,
I will tell you why. I'll tell you
to the under 30,
if you just give me 30 seconds
youth,
more, you'll understand why it matters. It matters why because Nirmohi Akhada and Sunni Waqf Board are the 2 original parties. You had the spokesperson of the Nirmohi Akhada. Mahant Das, a very respected figure whom I respect and I know personally, these people, they have given a statement in 2011 that it was the VHP, the Times of India, April 2011, that the VHP used this for political gains. They have no stake in Janmabhoomi issue, and because of them, there were riots in this country. What we want, just listen to me, Zaka, please give me 10 seconds more. Please give me just 10 seconds
because I need to get...
I'm just setting the contours for a very constructive
Jaiveer Shergill
debate as represented by majority of my community. A, keep this restricted to the two original parties.
That's exactly what the Chief Justice is saying today.
Please,
that's exactly what the Chief Justice is saying today.
If you keep interrupting me, people will not understand. I request you just for 10 seconds more. Let the VHP and Sangh Parivar have nothing to do with this. A. Secondly, while it is true that this is a criminal trial against Mr. Advani and Uma Bharti.
That's a separate case.
That's a separate case.
Yeah.
But the psyche of the community and of people in this country, as much as it is for faith and for facts, it is also for something called the rule of law, which is guided by the constitution of this country. There is no, the Allahabad High Court also said very clearly, 1/3 belongs to certain community.
Yeah.
It also said, it rejected that mandir was demolished and masjid was made. These are facts in that 8,000 page record. There are 5 IASI reports. He will quote the one convenient to him. He won't quote the other ones that are convenient. This is a question of faith.
It's a question
of
which ASI report the court went by.
And it is a question of rule of law. Let us not forget rule of law. So therefore, I suggest that let's keep the Sangh Parivar out. Let's deal with the rule of law issues involved and let's resolve it.
Shahid Siddiqui, the fact of the matter is, political parties on both sides of the spectrum, whether on the right or on the left, have benefited because of this issue in Uttar Pradesh and perhaps even beyond over the last 25 years. Has the time come, and you tell us, why is it different now when you have a BJP government both at the centre as well as in Uttar Pradesh on the back of a massive mandate? Why should we believe that this time would be different and that you can actually resolve this issue? And the larger question I asked Shehzad Poonawalla, does it really matter to the average young Muslim whether there's a masjid there or whether there's a mandir there? Please give them jobs, please give them education, please give them health, please give them roads and hospitals.
20 crore people living in this country.
Okay, Shahid Siddiqui.
It is.
Okay, Shahid Siddiqui.
You see, I was involved in the negotiations in 1991, and at that time also my stand was that the only solution can be a negotiated, amicable solution. Why? Because whichever party wins in the court, one party will win, one party will lose. I feel that the country and the society will lose ultimately. And therefore, the solution has to be amicable, where both parties should feel that nobody has lost. And the way out is to find a situation where we can give confidence to both the communities and respect the faith of all the communities. One. And the second is that for the first time, the court, it's not just amicable solution, agreement between two groups or confronting parties. It has legal sanctity, because the court will be monitoring this negotiation, and the court monitored negotiation will have legal sanctity. And thirdly, now lot of, as you said, water has flown through Saryo, and people are not interested in this situation. And fourthly, even the Muslim Personal Law Board is divided on this issue. I heard, I think on your channel, Qasim Rasool Ilyas saying that we are for negotiated settlement.
He did.
It is under supervision of the Supreme Court.
He did.
I also heard Maulana Farangi Mali on another channel saying the same thing. So why should I believe only Asaduddin Owaisi? And why should you go on saying that Personal Law Board is against that? Personal Law Board is not against that. Personal Law Board has always maintained that the solution is either through negotiated settlement or the court verdict. So if the negotiated settlement is through the Supreme Court, it should be welcome. And I welcome it, and I also stick my neck out and say that let's get over with it for all times to come. It has, we have spent a lot of energy on this issue, and let the Muslims have a larger heart and go ahead and say, let there be a Ram Mandir, and let the Hindus say that, okay, the mosque will be there, we'll respect it. In Ayodhya, we will have a mosque which will symbolize the great traditions of this
I think that's a welcome suggestion. Jaiveer Shergill, again, it comes back to, if there are more and more voices from both communities and both parties willing to find a negotiated settlement, I think it's very apparent, and if it hasn't been, it should be over the last 25 years, that it's political parties that are keeping this alive, both on the left and on the right, for their own narrow political interests.
Zaka, first things first, the Indian National Congress welcomes the observations of the Chief Justice of India for an amicable out-of-court settlement. And we have our specific reasons. Firstly, nobody can dispute the fact or shy away from the fact that this case, this dispute needs a closure. The Supreme Court today has given a very clear choice to both sides, either closure by contest or closure by consensus. If there is a closure by consensus, its shelf life will be much more longer. If there is a closure by consensus, it will ensure a long time harmony. Because, let me say it with a bit of a hesitation, if it goes to a legal verdict, one side will win or lose, and again an entire dispute and a blame game will start. The Chief Justice of India wants a win-win situation for both sides, and we should pay attention to his oral observation. He said it has to be a give some and take some approach. Now the litmus test and the true question is, will both sides exhibit certain amount of flexibility, certain amount of respect to each other, which was not there in the past 9 times.
No, but Jaiveer, it's interesting you say this, because Digvijay is saying, a senior leader of your party seems to be saying something else. No, one sec. He seems to be echoing something else. He says, while I welcome this on the one hand, I'm afraid of the direction in which this is going. I'm afraid why has this issue come to the fore again now that Yogi Adityanath is in power in Uttar Pradesh? Rakesh Sinha, I think, the only way to take forward this is, now that both parties have said, right, Babri Masjid Action Committee has also said that it's rejecting it, and I believe Hindu Mahasabha has also said that they're rejecting it, then let the court adjudicate one way or the other. And at the end of the day, let's go with the court verdict.
So
I mean, that's the law of the land.
After the Allahabad High Court verdict, it was expected that the party which would win the verdict, that will celebrate. RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat ji made an observation that यह न किसी की जीत है न किसी की हार है. That was an initiative for a dialogue, but the Congress party...
No, but both parties challenged the order, right? Both parties challenged the order in the Supreme Court.
The Congress party was critical to the judgment. Congress party was critical to that judgment. You go through the 10 statements of the Congress party, they were critical to the judgment. They said that the court had decided on the basis of faith. It was, both the parties presented their facts.
Okay.
Archaeological report, epigraphics, everything have been presented.
You dispute.
Any archaeological report, 1883 archaeological report, and earlier archaeological report, 1993 archaeological report, every report says that it was Janmasthan.
Okay.
One second. See, I am not here in the capacity of a congressman, but his statement about Congress party, they said actually exactly the same thing, that it is neither a victory nor a loss for anybody. Let's keep tempers calm. That's what they said, and I've been with the party long enough to know that. But here, let me correct a few things about Rakesh Sinha ji. Rakesh Sinha wants to pick up one part of the Allahabad High Court judgment, which says that Ram Lalla has a place there.
Yeah.
That he's okay with. He wants to ignore that 1/3 property was given to certain community. He's saying that Subramaniam Swamy, whom he is close to and whose party is representing, whose ideology is representing, says that you build your masjid somewhere else and you give this entire place. Now the court, if you are going by the Allahabad High Court as the benchmark, accept everything they've said. Secondly, I am giving you a better solution.
One second. My point is this: even if the court were to adjudicate, one second. Answer this very simple question. Even if the court were to adjudicate and say, okay, the land belongs to the mosque, what are you going to do there?
No, I'll tell you.
No, what are you going to do there?
I'm going to tell you two things. One, like Mr. SQR Saab, I forget his surname, he was there in the evening on your show. He said, for Muslims, building of a mosque on a land which has been, with the mandir or anything, is completely haram.
Yes, exactly.
If it is proved in this court of law, Supreme Court, which was not proved in the Allahabad High Court, mind you, sir, it was not proved. They dissented on that part. If it is proved, we will walk and make a mandir there. But what we are saying right now, even if there is a solution to the only solution I can see as a young Muslim is, let's have as 1/3, one masjid there, one mandir there, and a hospital or school on that 1/3. Why not have a place of development at Ram and Rahim's position? Let's solve this matter.
I have to go back to Dr. Samit Patra because there's a larger political play here as well. But Rakesh Sinha, quickly, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. In 1930, Lahore High Court unanimously given a verdict that it was because there had been worship, so there cannot be mosque. It was a decision of the Lahore High Court in 1930.
On Supreme
no,
Court?
what you are saying there.
So there's no question of
latest verdict is not a question of mosque.
Go back too far back in history.
Why is he against the solution that there should be both structures and the hospital? Why not?
We are ready to
look at this. Sambit Patra.
I build the mandir, you build the masjid, and let
one second.
Ram Janmasthan can't be changed.
At the Ram Janmasthan, build the mandir.
Gentlemen, one second.
Forget Makkah, it's out of India. Makkah is out of India.
Can't be changed.
The day you control Saudi Arabia, you do what you want there.
Vatican and Saudi Arabia, you talk about this.
Forget Vatican and Saudi Arabia. Where Ram Lalla is, build the mandir. Where there's a masjid, build the masjid and build the hospital. Build the school.
Why you are comparing Bawal with Lord Ram?
There is no evidence to that.
One second, please. 1 second. Sambit Patra, the bigger fear is this. Suddenly we are having renewed sort of interest and activity and news around the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute when we have a BJP government both in Delhi as well as in Lucknow. And it has been your stated position that once, you know, there's a BJP government in both the state as well as the center, your party will officially try to move towards a resolution of the dispute. The bigger worry is this. There are pending criminal cases against some of the senior most leaders of your party. Is this simply an attempt to provide cover, perhaps even, you know, dilute those cases, those criminal cases against the senior leaders of your party?
Not at all, Zaka. The question was asked by you to Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, and he has specifically answered that those cases run in parallel and they will run till their closure. So this is a separate issue. But to your insistence that there is a sudden renewal in interest of Ram Mandir building, that's absolutely wrong. This interest has always been there, and Zaka, let me tell you, such debates as that we are participating today will come and go. The whole system may cease to exist, but this interest in Ram and the interest of faith from either side, from our side and from their side. Faith is an article which never perishes. Humanity may perish, but faith will never perish. Thirdly, and very importantly, to say that there is a renewed situation today because BJP occupies a fortifying place in the central government as well as in the Uttar Pradesh government. I would not buy that because it was after all an observation by the Supreme Court which has nothing to do with electoral politics.
No,
but remember one thing.
One second, Sambit.
Just 10
is it your stated position?
No,
is it your stated position? Have spokespersons, have even your party president said this on record before that if we have a government both in Lucknow as well as in Delhi, then we will move towards resolution of the Ram Mandir dispute? Yes. Has this not been said on record?
I'll tell you what the stated position is. I'll tell you what the stated position is in one of the interviews that Mr. Amit Shah gave to your channel, the Hindi version in fact. When he was asked this question, he categorically said that there are two methods of resolution as far as Ram Mandir is concerned. One by contesting and the other is by consensus. And when the anchor asked him, so how is BJP going to help in that? He told, well, we will provide the amicable situation in which you can build on a consensus. And secondly, if it is through contest, then we will go to approach the court and say that please hear us out quickly. Let's have the dates fixed in a manner so that the verdict comes at the earliest. No other political party in the country is interested in the Ram Mandir issue as the Bharatiya Janata Party is. And that is why the Bharatiya Janata Party stands separate on this issue from the other political parties. And just a reminder,
quickly.
That the Congress Party in 2013, while they submitted an affidavit to the Supreme Court, had said that Ram is mythical. He does not exist. So they have a different stand and we have a different stand altogether as far as Ram is concerned.
Jaiveer wants to respond to that. Quickly, Jaiveer, I have to go back to Shahid Siddiqui.
Said Ram Setu wrong. Firstly, that affidavit was regarding Ram
you had to
Setu, but that was the stated position of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, where he wanted to destruct, where he had, listen to me, where Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee said he wants to destruct Ram Setu to build a man-made channel. Miri objected. Mr. Arun Jaitley went all the way to said Mr. Ram Setu has to destruct. So the first person who advocated destruction of the Ram Setu as it is destructed was Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee himself.
No. Your affidavit mentioned Ram as a mythical
yes, to avoid the 305 nautical mile distance. You wanted to destruct and construct into a needy objective to the environmental damage it will cause by the construction of an artificial pathway.
No, let me, let's leave that for a moment. Let me go back to Shahid Siddiqui. And I'm asking that question again, though both Sambit Patra and Dr. Subramanian Swamy have dismissed it. Is there a fear, Shahid Siddiqui, that if there were to be a concerted attempt to, push through a settlement, a negotiated, perhaps out-of-court settlement, then that would immediately have some kind of bearing on the cases that are pending, numerous cases on the raising of the Babri Masjid, including against some of the senior most leaders of the BJP? Is there that fear?
Look, those cases have gone nowhere, and I don't really expect them to go anywhere. Let me be very practical and honest. Although I have total faith in the judicial system of the country, but I know how things work. Secondly, if we really want to go ahead, then we will have to keep the political parties and politicians out of this, because they have milked this issue for the last 3 decades to the maximum, and they shouldn't be allowed to milk it anymore.
No, so who will say
the
this?
Parties in Ayodhya,
Shahid Siddiqui, who will say this? Will the Supreme Court say this?
Is dead. They always wanted negotiated.
Who will say this? Will the Supreme Court say this? Keep the political parties out and the politicians out? Who will say this?
Yes. Absolutely. It is the parties which have approached the court on this issue. They should be allowed. Of course, the court will say that. Let them sit across and find a solution, because I don't think that there can be any other solution to this dispute other than amicable agreed solution, because solution was provided by the High Court. That 1/3 but it was not accepted by both the parties.
That's right. Both parties challenged it. Okay, I'm going to get a round of closing comments.
Solution is no solution.
At the end of the day, I keep going back to this point because, communities have been sort of fooled by political parties, whether it's the Muslim...
Maybe I'm not a representative of Muslims, but I do know how they think, and young Muslims do not want this issue to go on and on.
I agree.
They are not interested in this confrontationist attitude. Otherwise, you can go on discussing till the cows come home and go on proving your point.
So the natural extension to what Shahid Siddiqui's point is, Shehzad Poonawalla, why don't you guys come out and say that we are not interested in this?
That's right.
Let the Ram Mandir be built there.
That's right. Now, 1 second. The problem is not, or the fear in the mind of the Muslim is, or the attachment is not for Babri Masjid per se. The fear is that whether the Babri Masjid was right, wrong, Babur built it 500 years by destroying something or not, it was existing there. It was a structure that nobody could take the law in their hands and break it down. That fear of insecurity and vigilantism is what threatens the Muslim even today. You ask about jobs, etc. Forget jobs. First thing that any human being sees, including Hindus, Muslims, Christians, is security. That nobody should take law into their own hands. Nobody should become vigilantes.
But this happened 25 years ago.
Listen to me. Please listen to me.
You said, Shehzad, a majority of your community
Zaka
was born after 1992.
Zaka Jacob, 1 second. Zaka Jacob, 1 second. Rakesh, 1 second. Please don't bombard when I'm making a final point. You expect, no listen, 1 second.
And Narasimha Rao promised from Lal Killa that mosque will be built again.
Sir, I'm not here. In fact, my views on Narasimha Rao, Shahid Siddiqui, I'm not here as a congressman. My views on Narasimha Rao can be debated. I hold him as much responsible with a lot of other people. But let's not reduce this debate on my political affiliation.
Okay, quickly.
Just the last point. All I'm saying is that a lot of people ask us, move on from Gujarat riots. They then tell us, move on from this thing, demolition. They can't move on from something Babur did. You expect us to move on from something that happened in constitution under a constitutional, free, democratic India. All we are saying is, so one last point, Rakesh, one last point, I'm sorry. All we are saying is, walk with us. Forget, even if that title belongs to Muslims fully. We are saying, let's have a masjid and a mandir. Mandir at this place where Lalla has been put. Let's have a masjid there, let's have a hospital there. It will treat both Hindus and Muslims. Let's solve this issue today.
Let's sit on table.
But that will happen only through negotiation.
Has a critical suggestion. I think
that can happen only
both the parties sit together and have a dialogue. I mean, because in democracy, without dialogue, democracy doesn't move. You can't close the door of dialogue. And you cannot create a fear psychosis among the Muslims. The days have gone. There is churning in the Muslim community.
But Mohsin Sheikh is still being killed on a rumor. This is still happening.
I'm going to wrap this, and I want to reiterate what I said at the top of the show. I mean, it might seem frivolous, it might seem a little surreal, depending on which way you want to look at it. But I guess it's the beauty of Indian democracy that you have a sitting Sikh Chief Justice, the highest judge in the land, volunteering of his own free will, volunteering to mediate in a Hindu-Muslim dispute that has been festering for the better part of as old as this country itself is. Thank you very much, though, Shahid Siddiqui, Rakesh Sinha, Shehzad Poonawalla, Sambit Patra, Jaiveer Shergill and KN Bhatt for joining us on our Talking Point tonight. Quick break here on the program. When we come back, we'll shift focus to the south, where superstar Rajnikant seems to have come out batting for the BJP candidate in the upcoming by-polls to the RK Nagar seat in Tamil Nadu. That, of course, was the seat held by Jayalalitha. Is he simply coming out for a friend, or is Rajnikant finally coming out of the open and supporting the BJP? Details when we return. Welcome back. In Tamil Nadu, is superstar Rajnikant batting for the BJP in the upcoming by-polls in the state? Now, this picture has set the cat amongst the pigeons. The superstar met with the BJP's candidate and music composer Gangai Amaran, who's the BJP's candidate for the crucial RK Nagar constituency. Gangai Amaran also happens to be the brother of music composer Ilayaraja. RK Nagar was the constituency from where Jayalalitha fought and won 2 times before she died, of course, late last year. It is the same constituency that Jayalalitha's niece, Deepa Jayakumar, is determined to contest from in the upcoming by-polls. It's likely to be a 4, perhaps 5-way fight, this one, between 3 factions of the AIDMK, the DMK, and then, of course, Gangai Amaran representing the BJP. Meanwhile, the AIDMK's official candidate for the RK Nagar seat is Shashikala's nephew, the controversial TTV Dinakaran. He says he's extremely confident of winning with a huge margin. He spoke to our correspondent Purnima Murli in this exclusive conversation.
How aggressive is your campaigning going to be, because there are more contestants? O Pannirselvam's camp, Deepa, DMK, BJP.
There may be more contestants, but the fight will be between AIDMK and DMK. And we will win with a huge margin.
Tomorrow, EC is going to meet both the camps.
Yes.
How confident are you, sir?
Not only majority, we have the support of more than 90% of the General Council members and Executive Council members, and we have 122 MLAs support and 37 MP support. So surely we will win in that hearing, and we will get, and I will contest only in 2 leaves as my symbol.
If EC freezes the 2-leaf symbol, sir, what will be your plan?
There will not be anything like that. I will contest only in 2 leaves.
Tomorrow is a crucial day because, remember, the Election Commission is hearing both sides on who represents the official faction of the AIDMK and who gets to keep the election symbol, the very popular election symbol of the AIDMK, the 2 leaves. You heard TTV Dinakaran there saying that he will contest only on the 2 leaves, and he's confident that the AIDMK will get that. We'll have that covered here on CNN News 18 right up early in the morning. The Election Commission hearing both sides of the AIDMK. We'll have it covered live. Thanks for tuning in to India at 9. We'll catch you again tomorrow.